and I started a little business, which I'm trying to get off the ground, making leather bags from recycled, coats. And I have a space in my town, Highland Park, which is available to me to teach sewing classes. And I recently went out and bought 10 computers. See, I'm a computer teacher. 10 sewing machines. So I have the machines, I have the space, and I'm like, so that's where I'm at.
Awesome. Yay, welcome. Tony?
Okay. Hey guys, how are you? My name is Tony, and I own a studio in Mount Clemens, Michigan. And we started off our business just doing like mobile things. So we would go to schools, we would go to parties, we would meet people at churches. And then this March, we opened up our brick and mortar space, which we're really excited about. I've been sewing since I was 9. My mom taught me how to sew, and I kind of worked the business with my daughter. It was her idea to open the business in the first place when she was 10, and now she's 13.
Oh, awesome. Welcome.
Thank you.
I don't know, is it the same? Is it me?
Yeah, it's you. Oh yeah, if you put it on, sorry, I'm looking at a different video. I think at the top right, if you change your view, you can kind of see everybody. Does that help?
Oh yeah. Oh, there we are in a circle.
Yeah, kind of nice. Then you can just see everybody.
So
yeah.
Maybe it was Laura who was next. I don't know.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I'm Nyla. Sorry that you see the little.
I love it.
This is our day off of school. Yep, right there. Lots going on here. So I have a sewing studio called Seamsters Local in Marblehead, Massachusetts. I just started in April or May, and teaching all ages. I started sewing when I was little, my grandma's machine, but mostly learned in college. I was in fashion design school, and then I just kind of like get everything on, I try things and learn things. And the studio is doing pretty well. Having issues with marketing. It's not so much issues with marketing, it's more issues with just time, clearly, because I've got all this going on. But having an extra studio space is awesome. Got right now 10 machines plus all just regular sewing machines plus the extra sergers and cover hem machines and stuff. Tons of interest. It's just very hard to manage getting people in the door and things like that. So I'm psyched for today's talk. And I'm in one school. It was double booked. I said my max was 8 and 16 kids signed up. So now I'm doing 2 classes. So that's been interesting, seeing what I advertised and what actually came back this fall, which was kind of fun. I just threw stuff against the wall to see what would shake out. And so it's exciting. It's nice to meet you all.
Thanks for being here. Laura?
I own Hartford Stitch. I'm in West Hartford, Connecticut, so right outside Hartford, like half a mile. I have a little studio space, and I teach kids classes 8 to 11ish, and then I have a teen class, and then I do adult class as well. So I kind of run the gamut of it. And I've been in business for about 2 years, a little over a year at my studio space. I did the nomadic thing for the first year, the hauling machines around in people's houses and schools and local businesses. So yeah.
All right, awesome. So the discussion today, and I called it guerrilla marketing, and I realized that that's such an old word. Like, I don't even know if that's what they call it anymore.
It is.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I was like, God, is that even a thing anymore? Because I feel like we do so much marketing that involves a computer and social media and advertising online. I was just sort of curious because I can't let it go in my business. I'm in a building now that gets a ton of traffic, and it's mostly classes. So for me, actual old school posters and little signs in my building, are very necessary because people are bringing their kids to like my gym and coding classes. And so there's traffic, and I want the, you know, let people know that there are sewing classes in the building. So I guess that's kind of why I, you know, a little bit selfish, the reason I wanted to talk about this topic. And since we're all local businesses, you know, it's like, what are we doing to reach people locally that's not on Facebook and Instagram? So does anybody have, you know, something that's working really well for them this fall that they want to start talking about? Or do you want, does anybody, who's doing some
that, I can say, this is Stephanie. I can say that something that I'm doing that I'm hoping will result in just getting my name and my services out there is that our library has, well, I used to do computer classes for them. So they asked me what I was doing now. I told them sewing, and they said, oh, would you be able to do a workshop here? And they give me like a, you know, $200 honorarium or something. And so that I'm hoping, we've already scheduled that. Hasn't happened yet, but I'm hoping that, you know, I'll lug my machines in and everything, but I'm hoping that will generate some interest in the community. We have a very like community.
So not only are you're getting paid to teach there, and they're offering the class to library patrons for free, right? Right. And then you're using it as a promotional vehicle. Yeah, totally smart. Awesome. Okay. Love it. Have you done it yet?
No, we just scheduled it. But this Sunday, my town had an arts festival for any of the local artists or crafters in town. So I went there, and I could have done a lot more, like having a little table for kids or whatever, you know, got, you know, a little generator or something for them so that they could sew something. But I wasn't there. But I really saw that could have been an unbelievable, because it was 92 degrees here and everybody in the world was in Highland Park.
Out.
Yeah. I think local events, I guess is what I'm saying. Since I know I'm local events and local, you know, that kind of thing. We have, of course, a Facebook page that we can, you know, post stuff on too.
Okay. Yeah, we actually had our local street fair on Sunday, and I feel like the heat worked against us. It was definitely not as well trafficked as it usually is in the fall, because I think people were just like sweating their butts off and not leaving air conditioning. But that being said, I bit the bullet and I purchased, it's not a generator, but it's like a giant battery pack, and it powers 2 sewing machines.
Oh my word.
And so we had sewing machines out there, and we're just doing, you know, we just do like a little rectangle that they can sew different stitches or whatever. And I find that stuff like that's way like more worth it if a kid or even an adult can just sit there and sew, even if it's for 2 minutes. They get that little taste of using the machine, and we set it on the really slow speed, and it definitely worked out, and the battery lasted, you know, knock on wood, hopefully it continues. I haven't used it that much, but it lasted for the 7-hour event. So that was really kind of fun. What else are people doing?
To kind of piggyback off of what you guys were saying about the local events, we participate in local events. Our studio is in a little downtown area. It's super cute and kind of kitschy, but they schedule events like almost every weekend. And so I send the girls out with like little cards, information about our studio. We pull, kind of like you were saying, machines outside to where everybody else is and kind of set those up. We also make sure that we are actually involved in whatever's going on. So like, for instance, there was a Made in Michigan event. I had all of our members make sew things that were made in Michigan. And then we had a fashion show during the Made in Michigan event. Same kind of thing, like they're gonna do the Santa parade through the downtown. We're going to actually participate in the parade so that people get to see the kids and what they actually finish doing. And then not only that, like, oh my gosh, Susie, you know, wouldn't you like to be in a fashion show? Or wouldn't you like to, you know, be in the parade or what have you? We've just been doing different things like that. And then for the fall, the memberships were down this fall for whatever reason. And so what we did is we did like an open house where people could come, and I did it kind of on the fly. We had 50 people come to the open house, and it was just like, come and learn how to use this sewing machine. Like, it wasn't really a big deal. I put out cookies and lemonade. I didn't even spend that much. I bought the cheap cookies. But we had like 50 people come, and I only had it for like a 2.5-hour span. So just like different stuff like that, even if you kind of do it on the fly, it gets people interested, and like parents and kids were sitting down to the machines and learning how to use them and then signing up for classes. So that was pretty cool.
Is that something that you're doing in front of your studio space, or that's like you're taking a table and you're taking all your stuff? Is your space like in that area, or just kind of to understand?
Yeah, just right outside of our door, like our space. It's called like Cherry Street Mall, but it's really not an indoor type of mall. But it's just all the shops that are on Cherry Street.
Oh, that's great.
And so like people will just like whenever there's something going on, like we had Oktoberfest. It's not really a kid-friendly event, you know, but I still was outside, you know, trying to just say, hey, you know, this is what's going on, because you have traffic going past your area at that time. You want to grab people while they're in town.
Yep. Awesome. I love it. What about you, Nyla? What have you been doing? You're getting all these people signed up. What are your secrets?
I'm actually not getting a ton of people signed up, so I need to do more guerrilla marketing. I actually hired a cousin who's like just graduated from college and is home for a year to help me with all of this, because it's just, I don't have a lot of time to go and put flyers up and things like that. So I have done flyers. I'm just getting an 8-foot tall sign banner for the side of the building I'm on. I mean, we're in an interesting location because it's right at the nexus of 2 schools, but it's not, our town is like a small walking town, but it's not, it's like we're not in like the shop area, but we are right between 2 schools, so that's nice. And it's I don't know, I had a hard time marketing an open house, like and I also am having a really hard time with the little kids that I don't know. I mean, it's a small town. Well, I guess there's like 30,000 people here, but we're on like a peninsula, so you sort of start with what you have here. I mean, almost everything I've done is on Facebook, because if I even hand someone a flyer, they're kind of like, well, can you send me the Facebook post? I mean, people
don't give me paper.
Yeah, it's weird. Like and moms, well, sometimes I give them an option. I'm like, well, can you take this flyer to your school? And they're like, okay, but do you have a Facebook post? Or, you know, the website that I did looks really good, and that's very well received. I would like to do more like open house stuff, just advertising that's kind of hard. And one thing that I was thinking of, my sort of little brainchild, is that we happen to have a lot of, Marblehead is like an arts community. Mm-hmm. Very, very long history of the arts. They have a festival of the arts that like everyone from Boston and everyone around here comes to every year, twice a year. The fee to get in there is pretty steep. The Chamber of Commerce charges like $500 a year just to be involved. Yeah, just to get like listed on their thing. But there's not that many shops here, so I haven't done that yet. But there's like a really amazing crafting person that I sent my daughter to. There's a knitting studio that's like, it's a storefront, but she teaches classes. There's a lot. There's like a fine art kind of like oil painting that's like really popular, and I'm thinking of some sort of like artist or card or some type of like way that we could maybe do some sort of trial thing where everyone, you know, the different types of crafting and sewing and things like that we could maybe all benefit from traffic of, like, I don't know, that's just sort of something I might try and discuss with some of my friends, that I think once people are in there, and a lot of these things are run out of like homes, because it's kind of like a colonial town. There's like one storefront street, but things are tucked away places, so you don't really see. It's very word of mouth. Yeah. And I'm thinking that if we had some way where people could try the different things, like once people are in there, they come back.
Yeah.
But if knowing about it, you know? So, and then if we promote it all as like once, like, oh, the Marblehead Arts card and the, you know, for like kids, I don't know, that's one of my throwing out there ideas, but I'm gonna have to put a sewing machine on the street soon. I'm thinking of putting a mannequin and just like literally sitting on the corner with a desk. I have a portable table and a sewing machine and like a little mannequin, and people will be like, what are you doing? Like, oh, I'm just sewing.
just some sewing.
It's a live demo.
I mean, everyone who tries a class is so amped about it. Like, I mean, but I have had, you know, I had a class that I had one student for in first grade. One person showed up. But then when she did it, it was like, oh my God, I'm going to like tell the schools and whatever, but we can't advertise in the schools. I'm not even allowed to give the high school a flyer, like the public schools here. And people move to the public schools, so there's like one private school. The charter school is where I'm teaching it, and they're very receptive to anything. And they are like, oh my God, we'll do the advertising for you. Like, so they, you know, they're being really good about it, but the public school, it's like a complete no-go zone.
Yeah.
For advertising anything. So that's kind of tough. I don't know how to stalk first graders.
Yeah, right.
Because I don't have first grade, that age kids. I have high schoolers and toddlers, so.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something. In New Jersey, anyway, I know that you can, you know, apply and in your particular town, and you can get maybe on the agenda as a vendor, you know, and then the board votes on whether or not you can be a vendor, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes, I don't know about how, you're Massachusetts, I think you said, I don't know how it is there, but, you know, there's a procedure where you can get on like a preferred vendors list sort of thing, but it, you know, it's time consuming, but you might want to start.
Vendor, like through the town.
Someone who supplies services to, on the, you know, municipal level, which the schools are, like that.
Oh.
And also too,
preferred vendor, you can then, you know, you can offer your services
to a school.
Right. Right.
Also too,
Go ahead. Sorry.
so also too, like where I am, it's called, let's see, community like Parks and Rec, and then for the schools, it's called, let's see, community education. If you go through the school, even if it's a public school, and contact the director of community education, that should get you into the schools. And then at the Parks and Rec level, the same thing. If you contact the people that are over the Parks and Rec, that should get you into the Parks and Rec things also. Now, I do like private schools and public schools. Private schools are way easier to get into than public schools. It takes a little bit more time, but once you get into them, they're pretty good. Like my public schools typically have like 20 kids a session, and all I do is every 6 weeks I switch schools. So throughout the whole school year, I'm covered as far as, you know, where I'm going to be and who's, you know, how many students I'm going to have. But the private schools are just easier. And when I approach them, it's typically like, okay, let's see when we can put you on. And we look a couple, you know, months down the road or a couple of weeks down the road and get in that way.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. And I'm going to contact it. And we also have a big Jewish community center and a big, and I mean, so I say all these things, but I think my biggest problem is that I need to scale a little bit. And it's like, you know, I mean, I don't have time to teach all that myself, and I haven't hired anybody yet. So that's,
right.
you know, my next thing. And, but
that makes a big difference.
Yeah. I mean, I've been trying to sort of, I just started over the summer. I've taught a few camps, and some classes have started up, but I'm just teaching my first 2 classes at the charter school right now. So I feel like I'm going to start ramping up more in the next semester, starting in, you know, in the winter semester. I think I'm going to try to contact people around like before that, and then we can, because I'm a little freaked out to like, I don't know how I'm going to handle all the time without another person.
I don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
I don't know, like, if you're a planner, but like what I found very helpful for myself is to just sit down and like plan out things, and even just, planning out my day. This is the day that I'm going to prepare materials for whatever. This is the day that I'm going to get my advertising together. I'm going to gather all my pictures. I'm going to whatever. This is the date that it should be done by, and just have it set up like that so that it gets like taken care of. Otherwise you'll turn around and you'll be like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the week and I didn't get that stuff done. And if you want to be like in place in winter, like now is the time to actually be doing the things so that you are in place by winter. Because if you wait until winter, it won't be until spring until you get,
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like a working backwards calendar is usually what I do. The caveat is getting the 3 kids scheduled. So that's my biggest issue, is that if I don't have childcare, it's hard to schedule anything. And, there's my toddler, they don't have enough days, and, we might have to switch to from school. And then it's like, so, that work-life balance is really difficult right now. And then my husband got called out. He's on a job in Mexico for the next 2 months.
Oh God. Oh.
So I'm like single mom with 3 kids and trying to start this. So one of those things where I made a plan, but now I'm kind of like, let's step back and see if it's realistic, because I don't want to, my fear is like overcommitting myself and then being like, oh, I need to hire someone like right now. So, I mean, luckily we have enough income that I can do that, like just and I'm liking that a lot. And in the meantime, I'm really just trying to get people in to know who I am. And so that's part of our, like, just signage everywhere. One thing that's been difficult is that I'm having such a hard time getting on Google. And like, there's another sewing studio. It's not really a studio. It's a woman who does it at her house, and she's been here forever. And she's supposedly really, really nice. I don't know her. But she's literally a block from me. And she's the first thing that pops up on Google, and I don't pop up on Google at all unless you put, and I just bought AdWords and everything. And so anybody who hears about a sewing place in town, if they Google it, they're going to get her and they're going to call her. And that's been like really a tough pill for me right now. But on the other hand, because of the word of mouth thing, and because I'm in the charter school, a lot of the parents are talking about how my thing is like a step up from hers. Like, I'm teaching the kids, like the teenagers especially, that I have a lot of is like more fashiony stuff and more design stuff. And she's doing a lot of like stuffed pillows and stuff, which is also great. But like, so those kids are now coming over to me for like an extra, for like the next level. So, but that's been hard getting on Google.
Yeah, I think as far as the Google thing goes, I think it's a matter of time. It's like once it's up there and you keep generating content, it's just inevitably you'll get listed. It's just not right away, and you kind of have to wait on their terms. But yeah, you've got tons of content, so it's going to get picked up.
Yeah, I figured that, and that's why last week we ordered an 8-foot sign to put on the side.
In the meantime,
the side of our building is on the main street that you drive in from. There's only 2 roads into town, so you have to pass the sign if you're going anywhere in town, and it's like giant. My husband was like, does it really need to be that big? I'm like, oh yeah, huge sewing machine and an arrow that points into my driveway.
Awesome. I love it. Laura, what do you do to drive people to your classes as far as guerrilla marketing?
Right now, not enough.
Yeah.
We actually, the road that my studio is on has a huge parade once a year. It's next weekend. 7,000 people come by.
Wow.
Park right on the road. And the smart thing would be to set up machines for an entire year. This has been my plan.
Yeah.
And my husband and I realized it's the one weekend I'm not teaching, and it's right after our anniversary.
Yeah.
Going away. And that's a hard decision, especially listening to all of you talking like, oh man, I should have just done it. But work-life balance, it was a decision I had to make. Next year, I'm going to plan a lot better for that one. My kids' classes are very much word of mouth. I do a camp through the community center every summer. It's at a discount than my normal classes, but can you stop thinking for a second? One moment, please. A discount for my normal classes, but they send out a booklet that goes to everybody in the town. And so anyone with kids that reads it, I'm listed as Hartford Stitch. So it's great referral business from there. And yeah, it's really grown by word of mouth. I think like a year and a half ago, I had barely could put 2 people in one kid's class. And now I have 4 full, which for me is 5 students. I'm not in schools, but so it's just been slowly growing. And the closest sewing studio to me is about 25 minutes away, 30 minutes away. And it took an entire year before, if you searched West Hartford sewing class, I popped up and not her. So that is just a matter of time. But yeah, I mean, my biggest thing now is trying to figure out how to drive the adults in. My kids' classes are doing well. My adults' classes are becoming a harder sell. I've found that I donate a lot to, the end of year fundraisers that schools have or local charities. Donate like a 101 class or a $50 class certificate, which aren't always used. Like, I assume people are bidding on them. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't know that many people that are like, I won this certificate. But at least my name is getting out there in the publishing, the programs that they do or the advertising that they do for it. That's what
teaching for adults.
What's that?
I'm just curious, what are you teaching for adults? Like learn to sew, or is it something?
I do like beginner to intermediate. I don't have a fashion background. My studio is not big enough to do real big quilting projects. So I have some 101 classes. They're 2.5-hour classes. I do an adult sewing basics. That's 4 weeks, 2 hours each week. I do a garment 101. And then I have a knits 101 class. And then what I've basically accumulated is a project catalog. So for the first 2 years, I'd say, all right, if you want to make the Linden sweatshirt, come on these 3 Thursdays for 2.5 hours, and this is what we're making. And I have a great loyal customer base that will pretty much sign up for anything that I make. It's like 3 or 4 people. But so they want something new. They want something that's going to expand their skills. But then there's people that have seen their Linden sweatshirt. They're like, well, wait a second. Like, I want to make that now.
Right.
And have had to been pretty strict with myself that I can only work so many days because this is one of 3 and my husband. And so I've turned to now what I call flexos, where as long as like the adult student can sew a straightish line and generally remembers how to thread a machine, they can choose anything off of my project catalog, and I add just new patterns and projects to it each quarter. So if somebody wants to make a Linden sweatshirt, these are the dates you get to choose for the flexo, and you can come and do it. And like I said, most of my stuff I'd say is like beginner to intermediate level. I do advanced fitting or advanced garment skills. Just that's beyond my interest level.
That's a great idea, because that's what I was thinking was that, what I'm about to advertise for now. And sometimes it's hard because I'm like, for Halloween, I advertised too early. I didn't get any signups. And now all of a sudden it's September 1st and people are like, oh my God, I want to sew costumes and whatever. But I'm right next to Salem. So it's like Halloween town. It's crazy. But for adults, I've had nobody has signed up for like a 6-week course. But every parent who drops off a kid is like, I want to do that. Can you tell me how to make a curtain? Can you tell me how to make a pillow? They're really, for some reason, at least most people here are moms, like stay-at-home moms. And so they're really into homemaking or something. And they really want to do that. So I'm going to start doing like you're doing, like the project-based to get people in for more like, I call them workshops. And I sent an email out for a home decor series that's like, pillows and what I'm going to do, or what I am doing, is requiring them to take a sewing machine basics course if they've never touched a sewing machine before, but it's just like 2 hours and then they can do the workshop. But I think it's hard. Sometimes it's hard for people to commit to a longer thing. So, and I like your catalog idea.
Yeah, I mean, I did a little bit over the summer with some success, but mostly it was my standby students. I knew every face that was coming in. I didn't get a lot of new people from that. It adds more steps, because instead of looking and saying, all right, this is the project on these weeks, I will sign up for that. I have to make it work in my schedule. People think, oh, well, I have time. I have to figure out my dates. Then they have to go to the project catalog. They have to pick their project. And I give estimated hours of completion. But so they have to say, all right, like, I'm going to have to sign up for this many times. It's just.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And the more steps you put between somebody and pulling the trigger to buy, the less likely they're going to. So I'm trying to figure that out. So far this year, it has not been. This is only my second week of it, and it's not the most successful thing I've done. And I don't know whether it's just because it's September, and September is so tough.
September.
Yeah, it's brutal. And a lot of my adult students are parents. And so, I mean, just getting kids back into things is tough. Last year, my September was really rough too for adults. We'll see. I'm kind of like crossing my fingers and holding my breath to see if it's going to pan out. And if not,
what about surveys? I mean, that's been something I have in the works, is developing a survey to see, because I can see how that would be really hard to have people pick off the list, and then it's almost like they're doing like a private lesson on that particular project, right?
Yeah, I mean, so that's how my workshops, kind of end up being anyways, is unless it's like a NIP 101 class where there's a lecture component, I kind of get everyone started and then go from person to person, just like, all right, this is where you're at. This is, okay, thank you. Yeah. So this is what you're going to do next and what you're going to do next. I actually had a student that's a teacher point out to me that was how I went about it and suggest that I try this instead. So yeah, it is like a one-on-one kind of thing, but they get a group class rate.
Yeah, we do something a little bit similar. So we call them memberships. So let's say you want to sew at the studio, because you actually want to sew, like you're not just coming to make one thing and then you're going to be done. You purchase a membership, and the membership grants you like 10 hours at our membership rate. And then kind of like what you were saying, so we have a member make menu. There's a fall and winter one, there's a winter, spring one, whatever. They come out about 3 times a year, and it only goes from September to June. So when you initially sign up, you're only just signing up saying, hey, Tony, I want to have 10 hours. And then there's a sign up genius, and I just send out the link, and I've already prepared the sign up genius with my available hours for the month. Or sometimes, depending on what month it is, I might do it for like 2 weeks at a time or 3 weeks at a time or what have you. But they get the sign up genius, and then it's their job to go on there and log in. Hey, Tony, I'm coming Tuesday from 6 to 8. I'm coming, whatever, Saturday from 10 to 12 or whatever. But they're in charge of going on to log on their time. And then we just communicate via email which project they're going to be on. And, I try to, make sure they know like what types of materials they might need or what have you. But we just kind of communicate that, personally for each person. They just send me a quick email. I send a quick one back. It's not a big deal. So when you sign up, you're not saying, hey, Tony, I want to make this particular thing on this particular day at this particular time. You're saying, hey, Tony, I want to sew this month. And then as your month goes on, you can see like if you have soccer this week, or if you have, whatever, your kid has like, I don't know, some girl does like choir or something like that. But whatever it is, you can check it out yourself. And then when you have available time, you just go on there and you say, hey, I'm coming on Thursday, no big deal. And then we just go from there. And then pretty much when everybody gets started, you kind of know what they're working on. And then since they're going to be coming into the studio, you know what they want to work on next. But you still get a group of people at the same time, sewing. And we have like our sewing stations, and then we have like our landing pads where like when they're sewing, I send them off to sew, and yes, I go and check in on them. But then when they're ready for the next step, they come back to the landing pad, and then I'm, working with the group that's on the landing pad. And then sometimes you find people, oh, I know how to hem that. Let me show you. I did that last week, or oh, whatever. So it also becomes kind of a community, which is what they want anyway, is to be there hanging out with other people. So
Yeah,
I don't know if maybe you can think about that the way that you have it where they do their classes and stuff to remove some of the steps, if that would be beneficial to you or not. But it's just kind of how we do things.
How do you?
Oh, sorry, Megan.
Oh, go ahead.
You have an issue though where you get to the end of whatever the time frame is. You said you do it monthly. People sign up for hours. And what are you eating?
And like maybe they're not finished. Is that what you're? Oh my.
Sorry.
That's okay.
No, no.
We certainly want to make sure she's safe.
Jeez Louise. I don't know when we had popcorn.
Like where they ran out of time and their thing wasn't done.
Amount of time, and they're like, well, I didn't get a chance to do this because this day was full or something like that. That's
right.
what I'm worried about.
No, not necessarily like something is full, but let's say like you decided to try like an ambitious project or what have you, and it's the end of the month, then you would just purchase an additional month.
Sure.
Now, maybe next month you didn't have additional time, but maybe in 2 months you do have additional time, and then you're still on that particular project when you return, like you're not on something else. Does that make sense?
I found that people bring a project that's really shouldn't be for a group class like that. Like it really needs so much one-on-one attention. That's my other concern about going off.
Yeah, so because they're letting me know what it is that they want to work on, like last year a girl worked on something for her gymnastics banquet. It was straight up a Vogue pattern with like a lining and like, pleating and all of these things. And I told her, I said, listen, I said, we can make this, but we can't make it in the time frame that you have to make it. So if you want to make something like this, let me help you, select something that would be more on your level or that would fit in your time frame to be able to make something that looks similar. But I'm really just super honest with people and let them know, like, one girl for costumes is making Descendants Evie motorcycle jacket and skirt. She's 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? So like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you do get like clients who are like, oh, and then I tried to explain to the mom, like, this may be not on her level. And it is listed on the menu make, but it's at level 3 and she's a level 1. And again, she's 6. So she's really focused when she comes, but she only comes for like an hour at a time. So there's only so many hours until you get to Halloween, So, and the mom's like, well, she's made a cardigan before. She should be able to make this. Okay, ma'am. So you just have to explain to people, like, your expectations are up here. However, I'm kind of a realist, so I'm going to let you know that certainly we can make something in that vein, but maybe not that particular, thing. And she is still making that jacket. She is she's almost done. So, we'll see when she's finished how it'll look. She'll probably need, I don't know, 2 more weeks and she'll be finished.
That's awesome.
But we did take certain things out. So like we took out the lining and instead she's doing like French seams on the inside. So you don't have to worry about like that. And I just explained to her that that's what it's going to be. And like some of the zipper pockets, we're just doing like faux. So she's not really going to have a pocket, but it is going to look like the zipper because that's just too many steps. So just different things like that. Just trying to explain to them that, we can do something that looks like it, but we're not necessarily going to exactly make that.
I'm curious how you schedule that without like basically opening up your time to all hours of every day, like
I don't have all hours.
Yeah.
So I can't do that.
Yeah.
So like my after school, like my purely after school time is spent at the schools because that's really how I make the most of my money. So my after school time, like, let's say like from 3 o'clock to like 5 o'clock, that's taken up with me going to schools and doing things. So members have the evenings, 6 to 8, except for Wednesdays, I'm closed. And then, I'm closed to members, but open for after school. And then on Saturdays, we do 10 to 6. on
So this is the
Sundays,
bulk of your
we
classes.
do 2 to 5.
So you don't have other classes going on at that time then? This is like,
Well, sometimes I have like workshops.
Uh-huh.
Workshops for me seem to be different from you guys. So workshops for me are the one-time events. You're coming one time and you're going to make whatever, a poncho. Classes are like my member classes or like my after school gigs.
okay. All right. Well, I think we should probably try to, I don't know if anybody has any other Guerrilla things. One thing that
I
came,
had one.
oh,
Go ahead, Stephanie, and then I had one other thing.
Okay.
I'm very curious if anyone's doing like bridesmaid parties or sip and sews, because I just like, that's what I had teaching kids for enough. I want really to seriously, I want to do sip and sews, and where bridesmaid parties come in, and you know, they're just having a good time and sipping some wine, and you know what I mean. So I think that first of all, I think it's a big bang for your buck. I mean, they're getting a lot, like a fold over clutch or something that, you know, they would really, and I would think that just time and money wise, it's a really pretty good bet. So I just wondered if anyone's done any of those kinds of events.
I've done like one, but I have other ones in the works. Like once people saw what they made, and
Sure.
it was, you know, I have one person who's a good friend of mine, but she put on Facebook that she wants to do one of these sip and sew classes and that she needs somebody to hold her hand because she like literally can't cut anything. She's just like, thinks she's just really bad, you know, not crafty. And she is like, her friends were just so on it. Cause like the Facebook, it's just like, like one friend tells another friend, and now she's just trying to organize 3 different sets of people. She's like, how many people can I have in each class? 8, 6, whatever. Cause she has enough to fill 3 sip and sew nights. And she's like, I might just sip and they can all sew me stuff. But like my friends really want to, you know, that's a really good one, because then they come to your studio and they see what their teens can do and what they're, you know, so it goes both ways. Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just realized what time it is and I have to go pick up my daughter from preschool, but it was really nice to meet all of you. And
Hi, Laura.
Bye.
thanks for joining us. See you. Bye.
Oh, okay.
So cute.
I have not done the sip and sews yet, but I want to. And also someone had brought up to me, like you said, the bridal shower, but also baby shower. And I'm like, baby shower, like they want people to come in and help them make stuff for their baby, like a quilt or whatever. Like everybody works on a little square and then they get put together. I have a hard time with adults. Not necessarily teaching them, I'm fine with that. It's attracting them. So like I always get kids, of course, and then I get their moms who say, hey, I want to sew something. Just recently, I just got a couple group of teachers who are like, okay, we want to plan like a night. So I'm hoping to use that as like a springboard of like, you know, making new like advertorials and stuff about girls' night out or what have you. I am weary of the sip part of the sew. So I'm like, okay, machinery and sipping, I'm not really certain.
Together.
I'll tell you,
my word.
we like sipped while we were picking fabric and everyone was like, oh, la, la, la. But as soon as they start to like use scissors, they're all kind of like, yeah, I'm going to keep my wine over there. like I had put a table set up, you know what I mean, for that. And like, it was amazing how, I mean, nobody really was sipping that much. They thought they would. But also, if you do it early enough, then they often go out afterwards with their new handbag. I mean, that's really kind of fun. Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, no, I just had 2 other things to add. So if you're still on that topic.
No, I was just saying that's what I was thinking too, because like in our area, it's like a downtown. So there are a lot of bars and all kinds of things like in the area. And I was thinking too, like kind of piggybacking off what you guys were saying earlier, like we're going to go here and we're going to sew and then we're going to go there and maybe we're going to sip or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that's how it worked out for us. Cause it's like a walking town. So they just like went out afterwards. They were so excited. But 2 quick things. One, I was, you had mentioned just now the, like a baby quilt thing. And this isn't really like an advertising thing for me, but I know that I'm going to get people interested because of it. But it can also work for, I think, like a baby shower class. So I have a friend who in April, her daughter was diagnosed with brain cancer, and it's like really bad and terminal. And so, but the only treatment for it is in London. And so the whole community has come together in this huge campaign to raise like hundreds of thousands of dollars, to get $50,000 every time they have to go over there. And she's already gone like 5 times.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're doing a big fundraiser on this Saturday, and I've put together a community quilt for it. So I'm selling individual quilt squares. And I've gotten together with a local embroiderer, and she is going to embroider everybody's name on it. And it's like really pretty, sort of like hand stitched. It's a machine stitch, but it's really lightweight. But that is, and then, you know, and then I actually have volunteers to help put the quilt together, like members of the family. So it's going to be really nice. But that is an idea that you could totally do for, you know, like a baby shower or something. If you hook up with an embroiderer that can like put, you know, personalize each square, and they come, and even just do the hand tufting is, you know, something that's, you know, something that could work for that. So that's one thing. So again, I feel it's weird. I'm like, I know that I'm going to be in this function hall with like all these people, and people are going to be like, oh, sewing studio. So I'm not like meaning to get like as a marketing thing, but you know, in a different application it could be. And then the only other thing I wanted to ask is anybody doing like t-shirts and bags? Or I was actually I saw somewhere else, it was, it's not a sewing studio like we have, but another like sort of more of a fashion place in Philadelphia, but they have cheap bags like that they got on like Vistaprint or whatever, and it has their logo and everything on it, and they sell kits of like, I think they're only like $30 of like, you know, like scissors and a seam ripper and what. Like, I'm actually thinking of doing that because I'm starting to sell machines. Everybody wants machines for Christmas, so I'm selling Eversewn machines, and I also I'm going to start selling little bags with my logo on it that have, you know, just a first starter kit of stuff. And then maybe t-shirts if I can get those cheap at some point, because that, especially in a small town, local community, like people will see there's a sewing studio, like it's just gonna have a big sewing machine on it, like a cool graphic sewing machine. But I don't know if anyone else does that, if you have printed t-shirts or anything.
I am for camp. Usually I give everybody that signs up for camp a t-shirt. But I've done it in the past. Like I've done different events and had bags made up. And for me, it's like my studio's not a store, and I think I get sick of looking at it. And so then I wind up like whatever's left over, I just end up like giving away as like some sort of prize. So I don't do a ton of it. And even like this summer, I didn't end up doing a t-shirt. I had all these kids come through and they're proudly wearing their t-shirts from last year. And then I realized, I'm like, oh crap, I never did a t-shirt this year. But to be quite honest, like, I don't know. I feel like it's a big investment just to kind of give away t-shirts that I don't know that it necessarily, you know, maybe if it was like really, and they're cute, I think, but I think there's just so much crap that everybody gets. Are they really gonna like be like, oh, I'm gonna wear my sewing t-shirt, except back to the camp the year following? You know what I mean? Right. Where it's like, we don't need advertising here. Yeah. So I don't know.
First thing, but I really liked the bag idea, because when the moms are always like, okay, so now do I get like scissors? And I mean, I have like a sort of list of the things that you need, but I'm like, why don't I just like sell that like as a kit, you know, like a starter kit, like, and I saw somebody else doing that, and it was sort of intriguing because I think I mean, so far I've gotten the bags down to like $3. So that's
So are you going to do it that it's like required that you have to buy it to use in the class, or are you still just, it's just,
no, I'm going to have 10 of them, like, or probably even like 5 of them on hand. But I mean, the bags I have to get them. I have to get like either 20 or 50. I'm still trying to work out the price point. But have like 5 of them just like packed with, you know, the scissors and and the pin cushion and whatever. And so that when somebody buys a machine, because I have a store on my website with the different Eversewn machines, and I have the new Sparrow 30 coming, which is good. So that I'll have one that's like the tester one in the studio, and then they have to order the machine. But in the meantime, they can also buy a bag of the starter kit, because I find that they're like, okay, I have this machine, and now I got to grab the kitchen scissors. And because a lot of the parents, like, they have no clue, and now they want to get their kids sewing machines for Christmas.
Right.
Yeah.
Just trusting that the kids are gonna like magically have, stuff appear. So
We don't have bags.
Logo
Oh,
everything.
sorry.
That's my things to logo everything.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway.
Tony, what are you?
I was saying we don't have bags, but like, and I don't intend to get like, professional bags or whatever, but we do from the distributors. I ordered just like our colors, studio colors, like a blue, like a teal kind of blue. So I just ordered like blue bags, and then we just put stickers on them.
Yeah.
Because when people come for like parties or what have you, I feel bad that they're leaving with their pajama pants draped around their arm, or like, folded up in their hand, trying to make it to their car. So for that purpose, I thought that was kind of weird. So that's the only reason I decided to get it, really. So that when people left from like a party or a gathering or something like that, they would have something with their logo to put their stuff in, just to make it look more professional as well.
Yeah.
Great idea.
But without the expense of having printed bags.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I have a whole list of great ideas. Yeah. Well, I'll do a little post as well, and I'll list the notes that I took, and then everyone can add in the comments, if I missed anything. But this has, I think, been a really good discussion, and it's always just super inspiring to hear what other people are doing. So I appreciate that you all came by and shared your knowledge with everybody.
Thanks for hosting the forum. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Megan.
No problem. It's just so good to like chat with people that are doing the same things and hearing about how they do it, and it's like, oh, okay, that's a different perspective. So I love it. I'm glad it's happening, and I'm pumped about it right now. I have a lot of momentum going into the Hip Stitch Academy at this point. So keep checking, and and sign up for these little chats. And if I haven't reached out already to do a little interview, I will, because I'd love to do some one-on-ones as people feel they're ready to talk about what they're doing. I know, Natalie, you were like, I'm not ready for an interview yet, but I feel like maybe you are. I feel like maybe you are. And Stephanie, you're totally like, well, you're getting going though, so you're getting there. And clearly, Tony, you've got your thing going on, so I love it. I really appreciate hearing all about
thank you.
Too. Totally.
Thanks.
All right, ladies. Thanks
Right.
for being here.
See you
And
guys.
see you soon. Okay. Bye.
Bye.